Hey guys, this is John here in Los Angeles with the Alpha Channel update for Saturday, October 5th, 2024. The first thing we're doing as usual is this Yggdrasil deck. I'm really impressed with this, especially this one. If you are from the Northern European culture, this will make sense to you. The rule of three, the informed decision. If you've got two friends, this is in the military, this is how a commanding officer makes every decision. He has an executive officer and a NCO, IC, non-commissioned officer in charge, a first sergeant, a master sergeant, and the master sergeant and the XO provide alternate points of view to any decision the CO has to make. And in this way, he's able to make a decision without taking sides. It's his job to make an informed decision. Do your reconnaissance. Figure out what you're up against. Have a plan. People don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. A lot of that shit is true. All these little sayings that you hear throughout your life, if you don't collect those and act on them, you're an idiot. You should be as good at keywords as any computer system. When you run across something, you might only get one exposure. And if you're not rich and you can't capture that exposure, you have to write it down. So this is DINOKING. I was there the night that I was watching online while Ethan was telling John about this book, but I ended up buying the second printing the next day. Even though they weren't going through, they had found another campaign. I went out to Liam's campaign and it was closed already, but I guess there was another spot where you could buy it. So this apparently is a continuation of one of Liam's other books. Extermination, I want to say, because there's a line in here that references it. I really do like the way this is put together. I'm showing every page because we're only going to do the first chapter. We're going to stop at chapter 2. First chapter is Lizard Brain. And I really do like the shortcuts Liam did take. You're going to notice in the art as we go, some of it is less finished than other pieces. Some of it has cross-hatching that is a little less precise. But you guys should check out Blade of the Immortal. That's definitely a manga, an anime book that I want to look at. I am a sucker for this stuff. Cowboy Bebop, Ninja Scroll. That's part of why Japanese animation is just as important to me as American comic books. It just holds a special place in my heart. The Shogun, Samurai, Ninja culture. I love it. I learned to speak Japanese with those Rosetta Stone, Pimsleur audiobooks and Japanime action movies with subtitles to the point that I had 2 dreams in Japanese. It was fun as shit. So I really appreciate this story. If you guys know from what Ethan has spoiled of it, I'll tell you the basics. I have a story like this, actually, myself. These 2 little kids are out harvesting wild mushrooms and berries and whatnot. And I have a story like this called Tirkalin Clun. Who's an elven prince who's been exiled from his homeland. And he comes across these little kids who are harvesting moonberries, which are explosive berries. And they have to cross a bridge, and there's a demon. If they cross after sunset and the bridge is in shadow, they have to pay a toll. And they can't afford that toll. But this is a little bit different. This is these little kids come across a reptilian. It's the only way I can describe this character, having only read the first chapter, because he has dinosaur relatives who come looking for him. It's kind of like a runaway in the modern sense. This could be a runaway wild animal. Kids living, in a secluded sort of forested neighborhood. This could also be a runaway from the cartels. This could be a runaway from a million different cultures. You know what I mean? If this family is living in India, this could be a runaway from the Tugi cults of India. Could be a runaway from the travelers, the pikeys in Ireland and Scotland and Wales and Portugal and Spain and northern France. Could be a Roma. So here he is at their home. He's been accepted into their home and fed He's become part of the family. It's taken about 6 months. And I love the anime art style, but take a look at the fine details. I don't want to call this rushed. I want to call this no better than it has to be. This isn't Jim Lee, and it doesn't have to be. But look at how great the kids are. I have a soft spot for animated kids, and Liam has a really, really good style drawing children. I'm going to steal some of this for my comic books. And here we go. The mom is a sort of a witch character, and she can do mental telepathy. But if you recognize that you know what your dog's thinking by their expressions, everyone does mental telepathy. Every mother does mental telepathy with their own children. You can read their thoughts because their thoughts are written all over their face. Every parent can do that. That's part of what language is. You have to understand they break language down into 3 percentages. 7% is the words, 23% is the tone and inflection, 63% is the body language. So a comic book can be written in an entirely different language. You can watch Japanese without subtitles on and still get most of what's going on if you're dedicated enough. Some cultures are maybe a little bit harder, but Japanese and American, Japanese and European have a lot of crossover. We're both very formal cultures. We both believe Korean's a little bit harder for Americans to bite, but because there's so much hierarchy, it's so structured, it's so disciplinarian. But this is obvious, you know what I mean? There's lots of nice touches in the dialogue here. You guys should buy this and read it. I don't do those kind of reviews. What I want to talk about is what's coming up. First off, I love the action drawings. The way Liam does action is really cool. Motion, he's really adopted the manga style for this. I don't know what his regular style is like. I don't know what this would look like. I have this drawing. I did something like this recently for a friend. This exact same pose. I might include it at the end of this if I can find it easily enough. But I do love the vector lines, the action lines, the explosion lines. It's a simple way to do it, and it's effective. And basically, this character has to be taught how to use his, pretty much any young teenager coming into a sudden growth spurt, quit breaking stuff, go easy, be gentle, don't wreck the car the first time you take it out. Here's an ad for what I want to say is Kakashi Murder Dolls. That's the way I've always heard it referred to. But the story continues here. He's becoming a great part of the family. I love how much time Liam dedicates to this, which is perfect because he dedicates, and these pages are thick. This is 80 pound at least. And look at this. Wow. And these dinosaurs can talk. And these dinosaurs are ruthless. I'm spoiling this if you're paying attention. I'm going to hold this up a little bit longer. Look at the cover. So, all hell has broken loose. And apparently, this humanoid character is used as a lure, is used as bait for human settlements by these dinosaurs. Sort of the way fish use different there's this one fish with a glowing thing that lures other fish toward it and then it eats them. That's essentially what this humanoid character is for these dinosaurs. He's done this a number of times. He wakes up with amnesia and he is left somewhere where humans can find him, and then the dinosaurs follow him to the community. These pages are heavy duty. This book is twice as thick as it would be if this was newsprint or, even 40 pound. It's double 40 pound. It's 80 pound pages. These are thick. I would have to do some effort to fuck this comic up. Look at this is as much action as there was setup. I love that Liam just leaned the fuck into this. It's the only way to describe it. He just leaned in. He said, I'm going to give them a bunch of happiness, but I'm going to take it all away with the equal amount of violence. And I know this is, again, I know what I'm talking about. I did a violence pass on this issue, on this book, on this novel. There's never a dull moment. Liam just balanced it. Half happiness and half just bloodthirsty war. And you have to have victims in order to have a war. In order to have revenge, you have to have a reason for it. So that is the end of chapter 1. I'm going to do these last pages over again because I want to make sure I do them justice. Look at this. It takes a massive pair of balls to draw dinosaurs eating people. It's what I desperately have wanted to do for a long time. And my artist, this guy right here, stopped talking to me for a while over it. Told me he didn't want to do satanic art. He said it hurt his soul. And I don't blame him. It does. Doing this much blood, it leaves an imprint on you. It really does. And especially if you're going to do it with children and civilians being torn apart by dinosaurs. This is one of a kind. This is Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. There's only 7 issues of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. Only 7. 7. This is a big boulder in a very small pond. You can't do that twice because you splash all the fucking water out. And then all the fish, all the sustenance of that pond is left there gasping for air. Starving. What do you do after this? How do you top this? When you talk about jumping the shark, you know, Ethan, how do you top the Vespis? What are you going to do after Reddit extermination? How do you keep it going, man? How do you get 30 issues or 300 issues? I know how to do it. I have 23 hours of TV. So that's the end of chapter 1. You could hurt someone with this. This is almost a weapon. Very good comic by Liam Gray. We'll do more tomorrow. Brought to you by Legacy of Mad Scientist and Legend of Ashley Fox. The bloodiest books out there. You could check out Undying Mercenaries by B.V. Larson. That's pretty good. The Gray series by Mark Greaney is good. They had that movie with Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. That was snarky, kind of, WB with a big budget. This is different. This is Dexter on steroids. Nobody's doing what I'm doing. The crown is just out there lying on the ground waiting for someone to pick it up. All right, see you guys tomorrow.